not going to get today back.
Right.
And, you can hustle and grind and win the money game, but there's a lot of dudes that are going to win the money game and they're going to lose the life game. And that's not something that I want to do. I want to ensure that I invest time wisely with my family and with my businesses, with myself, with my God.
Hey guys, it's KB, your host from Stroke of Success podcast. Today's guest is very special to me. Came across his social media profile when I was in rehab for my stroke, and I was really out of it. And I started to follow him for that time. And a few things how this individual impacted me. First thing first, his book. It's called How to Make Shit Happen. Really good book. Put a link in the bottom. I would strongly suggest you buy it. Number one. Number two, his brand, his apparel brand called Lions Not Sheep. It's more than just a fashion brand. It's about how we all should not be sheep. We should be lions. We should be leaders. We should not follow. We do what others want us to do. And he talks about great examples in this interview of mine with him of how that should not be the case. Number two, he talks about how he loves his kids, his wife, his mother. He's a great person. He talks about how tomorrow's not promised. Something I always talk about as well. Tomorrow's not promised. So spend the time today with your family. Tomorrow's not promised. So start the business today. Tomorrow's not promised. So do the best you can today. So with that being said, he's an author, he's a speaker, he's a CEO, founder of this amazing brand. Welcome Sean Whalen to this episode. Please take notes. He's impacted my life greatly. Make impact yours. I don't know. Check it out, guys. If you like the content, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel and share on social media. Thank you so much for your support. Love you. Let's go get it, guys.
Hi, baby. Hop in the Lamborghini. I'm meaty. On me only, I'm meaty. Hi, baby. Hop in the Lamborghini.
Left for a minute, I did not sweat it. Look at that cash I'm spinning. There it goes.
Sean, you have no idea, man. Like, you doing this for me right now, that's surreal for me. And the way you...
Awesome. Well, I'm glad to be here, man.
And
Thanks
I know
for having me.
you're super busy, so I know we'll make it fast and easy. Sean, tell me, so I know about your story. I know I can probably read it backwards, but I want to hear from your mouth. So you was raised by a single mom?
Yeah.
Okay. How was that situation?
I mean, it was, I look back at it now and it was a great experience in my life. It taught me a lot. My mom was my hero. My mom taught me a lot of fortitude. She taught me a lot of tenacity, and I wouldn't trade my upbringing. I wouldn't trade my childhood for anything.
Okay. Did entrepreneurship come at an early age? I mean, how did you know?
Yeah, I became an entrepreneur. I mean, ever since I can remember, I was a little kid who would run around and hustle the neighbors to mow the grass. I'd get all my neighbors to pay me $5 when I was a kid to mow their grass, and I'd pay my friends a couple bucks, and we all had ice cream money when the ice cream man rolled around. So, ever since I was a little kid, I always remember just being a hustler. I had a quote unquote real job for a couple of years in my early 20s, and about 22 years old, I quit and never looked back. So I've been self-employed, building my own companies, building my own businesses for the last 25 years.
Okay. How old were you when you got married?
When I got married?
First marriage.
22.
Okay. And so 3 kids, right?
Got 3. I have 5 kids now.
With her, your first marriage, you had 3, right?
No, 3 kids.
3 kids.
3 kids in my first marriage.
Okay. So I know you're doing really well. I think you're doing a real estate investment situation, right? That game. You were doing a bunch of different
I'm investing in a lot of different things right now.
But back then, I'm going back timeline when you first got married.
Yeah. Did a lot of real estate. Yep. Did a lot of real estate.
Yeah. And you killed it. Something happened. You weren't unhappy.
Yep.
Can you share about that a little bit?
Yeah, I realized that I'd lived most of my life as a sheep, that I did what I was told to do. I said what I was told to say. And I realized that I'd never actually figured out why I was doing anything that I was doing. I never really established myself, who I was, what I stood for. I lived in a lot of people's shoes. And when I was about 31 years old, I decided to kind of burn my entire world to the ground. I left my marriage, I left my businesses, and spent a couple of years trying to figure out why I was even here, why I was even on this earth. So it was an interesting time.
Okay. So you got divorced, right? You walked out?
Got divorced. Yep.
Therapy? Any therapy? Or, I mean, what was the situation like?
Oh, dude, I've had coaches and therapists and counselors and people for years. I mean, that's something that I still have coaches. I have a bunch of coaches. Yeah, absolutely.
There's this thing, part of your story I heard and read about much of the time. I have you talk about it, the gun, and you're ready to do a suicide. Talk about that a little bit. What happened? And
yeah, it's I found myself after my divorce very confused. I was very angry. I was angry at the world. I was angry at my ex-wife. I was angry at the market. I was angry at myself. And one night after my divorce, I realized I had this thought process that maybe I just fucked everything up. Maybe I was totally wrong. Maybe, you know, all of these things that were going on that I blamed everybody for was, you know, my issue, my fault, my problem. And it was just in a really, really dark place. And one night I contemplated taking my own life. And I had a bunch to drink, and God bless the man upstairs. I woke up the next morning and I didn't take my life. And I decided from that moment on that I wanted to live. And I wasn't sure who I was, what I wanted to do, where I wanted to be, but I knew that I didn't want to die. And that kind of became the tipping point for me, and what's started what you now see with Lions Not Sheep, and this, you know, huge social media following, and you know, really my rebirth, if you will.
Sean, you're a Mormon, right? You're born as a Mormon?
I was Catholic for 17 years. I joined the Mormon Church. I was in the Mormon Church for quite a while, and about 8 years ago, give or take, I stepped away from organized religion. So absolutely support, you know, what everybody chooses to do, whatever church they choose to go to. But as of right now, I'm an incredibly spiritual individual, but I don't subscribe to any one particular denomination.
Yeah, I was watching your interview one time recently, where you were talking about you looked into Islam, in the Quran, in the Hindu book. I forgot what's it called. How was that journey? Like, you looked into all of them, and you're like, you know what, that's not me. It's you and God directly, right? That's what you talk about.
Yeah, you know, I've got a copy of the Bible. I've got a copy of the Bhagavad Gita, the Book of Mormon, the Quran. You know, I've studied with so many different people. I've met so many amazing people. I was an ordained minister for 2 years. You know, and it wasn't this isn't my thing or that thing. It just I went on a journey. You know, Jesus went into the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights. Those who are Christian, who believe in the Bible, right. You know, and what did he do? Where did he go? Why did he go do that? And I found myself a number of years ago, very, very, very religious. I was subscribing to a denomination and a way of being and a way of thinking, but I had never actually established that. So I realized, you know, if Jesus went out into the wilderness, I should probably do the same thing. And so I chose to go out into the wilderness and have been on that journey ever since. And like I said, I love religion. I love the idea of it. It's just not for me. And I think religion is a very, very beautiful thing for people that need it. And I found myself not needing to be told what to do and what to say and what to read. I found myself very, very, very much aligned with building a relationship with God. And that's the journey that I've been on, and the journey that I'm on today.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that story. And I relate to you very much. And I'm born Muslim, but I don't naturally feel same. I'm same like you. I have a connection with my God, and between me and my God, right?
Yeah.
Sean, I'm sorry. I love timeline. So, like, divorce happened, the gun situation happened. You're good now. Like, how old were you? Like 35, 32 at that time? Like, when you're ready to go?
I was in my early 30s. Early 30s. Yeah. 31, 32, 33.
Bankruptcy, I heard. I mean, you went to hell, right?
I burned my whole world to the ground. I left my marriage. I got divorced. I went bankrupt. I literally walked away from everything. So I lost $12.5 million when the market went sideways in 2008. And, you know, I just basically walked away from life. I walked away from everything.
There was one post, I think, that you did on social media that changed the social media game for you, right? Am I correct? Talk about that. What happened with that?
After my divorce, it was a really nasty divorce, and my ex-wife and I did not get along. And I mean, it was a really, really, really ugly situation. And I spent a couple of years trying to rectify that and become a different man and a better man. And, you know, I had a lot of anger that I realized was really not directed at her. It was just internally with me. And so I started to kind of build this new relationship. And one day I was picking up my kids from her house, and she had gotten remarried and had a new baby. And I ended up going inside. My kids were like, "Dad, come see the baby." And I'm like, "No, you know, let's go. Like, I don't really get along that well with mom yet. We're there's baby steps, you know." And long story short, I ended up going into the house, and we talked, and it was the first time in a couple of years that we had really been face to face. And my sweet daughter brought the baby over, and I was holding her new baby, and I just took this selfie picture. And that night I just wrote my feelings. I wrote my truth. I did for the first time what I had never done before on social media. And I just told the truth. I just told people how angry and bitter I was in my divorce, and how, most people would never realize how difficult the situation was, and how me sitting here holding her baby was like such an incredible experience for me. And, I went to bed that night and I woke up, and for the next 14 days, that post had 10,000 or more likes per hour. It reached tens of millions of people. It truly went viral. I went from having about 200 friends on Facebook to over 30,000 followers inside of 2 weeks, which was pretty incredible. So that was the real tipping point where kind of social media kicked off for me.
Sean, vulnerability, man. Like I've shared my story with you via DMs. I had a bad stroke, almost died, and I share my story quite often. And some men look at me like, "Yo, what's wrong with you, dude? Like you're being a pussy. Like shut up, man. Like don't share your vulnerability. You're not a real man, right?" You talk about that quite a bit. You want to share your thoughts about that?
Anybody who says that to you is an idiot. I mean, the one of the most powerful things that you can do is tell the truth. And the reality is most people don't realize that truth is vulnerable, and truth isn't always pretty, and truth always doesn't look good and sound good and smell good. Sometimes truth is gnarly. Sometimes truth is dark. Sometimes truth is not socially acceptable, but it's still truth. And so I found after I wrote that first post with literally millions of people engaging with it, I was like, what the hell? Why did people like this? Why did this go viral? And I realized it was because it was my honesty. It was truth. It was dark. You know what I mean? There's not very many men who come out and talk about their darkness online. We just beat our chests and we're men and we just man up. And I realized something. I was like, well, shit, if that's number one, what helps me feel better, which it did, and number two, helps me connect with more people, then I'm just going to keep doing this. And I did. And I just kept sharing and sharing and sharing. And, I think that a lot of people have vulnerability mistaken. They have it backwards. They think that it's this sign of weakness and it's this thing to be afraid of. And it's actually the exact opposite. It's one of the most powerful things that you can do. And it's one of the most noble things that you can do. So it's like, I always tell people in my coaching business is, if you want to grow your business, if you want to grow your relationship, if you want to grow anything, the very best thing you can do is be vulnerable. Tell the truth.
Sean, I was there at the MDM event last year. I was trying to kind of sneak into VIP backstage, and with the Ryan Stewman's event last year, I saw you. Amazing event you did. You talked about some good stuff, like in the sense where we don't make much time for our kids, and tomorrow is not promised, right? And my story is that's a testament to that. Talk about that. Like, how do you balance running multiple 9-figure businesses all over? You're this badass guy on social media, beautiful wife, you have 5 kids now. Like, how do you do that, man?
Easily. It's not hard, man. You just have to, the same intensity I invest in my businesses with, I invest in my relationship, or I invest in my kids, and a lot of guys have this game wrong. We're in this game of competition and we're trying to beat everybody, and we're trying to show up on social media, looking this way or acting like this way. And we've got a lot of this shit backwards, man. I mean, it's not, our wives are not wanting us to take them on 10-hour date nights, every day. They get sick of us. You know what I'm saying? But when you're on date night, which most dudes don't even do date night, you know what I mean? But it's like when you're on date night and you're on your phone the whole time, talking to work and talking to the people and whatever else, you're not present. You're not there. So for me, it's like when I'm on date night, I don't give a shit if the building catches on fire. If my office catches on fire, somebody's going to call 911. What the fuck am I going to do about it? I don't have anything to do with it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when I'm playing with my kids, if a question needs to be asked at the office, I should have people there that can just answer basic fucking questions. And if it's a huge deal, then it can wait until I'm done. I mean, I'm being serious about this, and I don't. I've been known to be on podcasts, and my kids will call on FaceTime, and I've never pushed the red button. I answer it. So it's like, at the end of the day, man, like we're not going to get today back. Right. And you can hustle and grind and win the money game, but there's a lot of dudes that are going to win the money game and they're going to lose the life game. And that's not something that I want to do. I want to ensure that I invest time wisely with my family and with my businesses, with myself, with my God. And that's something I'm ruthlessly committed to. It's really not that hard. A lot of guys think it's really hard. It's really not that hard.
I mean, Sean, you're one of the rarest influencers, I would say, who is successful, again, badass on social media, that does not promote the grinding culture. everyone's grinding on social media, right? And 24/7, no balance stuff. But I mean, the way you break it down is amazing. Sean, let's talk about the brand that I fell in love with. I'm still in love with. Like, how did it come about?
In the middle of that kind of meltdown back in the day, it just came to me one day. It just popped in my brain. And I think God puts things in our brain for a very specific reason, and it wouldn't leave my brain. I just kept thinking about it, thinking about it, thinking about it. And I ended up writing it on my bathroom mirror, and it just became my mantra, lions, not sheep. I truly, from a very simple state, it wasn't an apparel company. It wasn't a coaching company. It was just this mantra that came in my brain that I would read every single time I went into my bathroom. I'd read it on the mirror, and it was like my own personal declaration, like, all right, I got a choice to be a lion or a sheep today. I spent most of my life as a sheep, so I'm going to choose to do something different today. And it evolved over the years, and I ended up making a T-shirt one day, years ago, and somebody saw me wearing it on Facebook, and they're like, "Yo, man, that's a dope shirt. Where'd you get it?" And I'm like, "I made it." And they're like, "Well, how do I get one?" I'm like, "I don't fucking know." So I called my buddy who made the shirt, and I said, "Hey, some dude wants to buy the shirt." And fast forward years later, here we are.
That's amazing. Tell me about how fast the business grew. So COVID was a pillar for you guys, right? COVID, you guys went like 10x.
Yeah, no, I didn't really start selling the apparel officially until 2020. Prior to that, it was just all organic. My mom worked for me for a couple of years. She retired, and she came and worked for me, and we'd have 1 or 2 orders a day that would just come in organically. Like, it was just a really simple Shopify store, and I didn't run ads. I didn't spend any money. Pushing the company. It was 100% organic. And we maybe did $1,000 a month in sales total. And so in 2020, I realized that the brand was growing, the business was growing, the tribe was growing, and I was like, I want to start the apparel company. And so we went from May of 2020 is when we started launching our first ads. And that November, we had our first $1 million month. So, I mean, it grew from basically $1,000 a month to $1 million a month in about 6 months. And, it's been a roller coaster ever since, but it's been quite a ride.
You guys changed locations recently. You got a huge warehouse.
We did. Yeah. I think I bit off more than I can chew, but as the saying goes, you got to bite off more than you can chew and then figure out how to chew it. So we got a huge warehouse now, and trying to make some moves with the company and scale it and grow it. But it's been a fun challenge.
That's amazing. I'm gonna come see it, Sean, one day when you're free. A year later, I'm not gonna bother you anymore. I've been bothering you for 6 months, man. Thank you for your patience, man. But I want to come see it in person and maybe make a behind the scenes video if it's okay with you.
Cool.
Down the road. Question: your daily habit. Your daily routine, is it a set routine? Do you eat the same thing every single day like most entrepreneurs do? Or
No, I don't. I mean, I have a morning routine, and that's the one thing that's constant. I work out every morning, I study every morning, I pray every morning, and I journal every morning, and that's something that's very, very constant. But my days are crazy, man. Like I enjoy it that way. I really do enjoy being busy. I enjoy having a lot going on. It's stuff that I choose to have going on, so it's not I hate my days and I'm just busy doing shit I don't like. I've got multiple companies that I'm running, and I've got great partners, and it's really fun. So my morning routine, though, is very, very important to me and very specific to me. But other than that, it's kind of handle the business for the day and have some fun along the way.
Do you believe in the law of attraction, Sean? What you think about, what you visualize about, you bring about? People think
100%. Yeah, I think James Allen wrote my favorite book, As a Man Thinketh.
Yes.
And he talks about how the mind is a garden, and whatever you plant in there, it's going to grow. So if you're putting shit in your mind, then you're going to get shit out of it. And if you're planting good seeds, you're going to get, good fruit. So I definitely believe in that.
Awesome. Last question, Sean. We have so much to ask you, Benny. You're busy. Last but not least, you have the coaching group that's exploded in many ways, right? I mean, tell me where was the beginning? How big was it then, and how big is it now? I
started the Lions Den, which is my coaching group, about 9.5 years ago. Obviously with one person, and we have had just under 30,000, 29,700 and something people that have joined our coaching group over the last 9.5 years, and it's been an incredible experience. It's truly been one of the highlights of what I've done professionally, and we're getting ready to kind of go into our Lions Den 2.0. I announced earlier this year in January, and we have thousands of members all over the world. I announced in January that I was going to be closing it down. And it kind of sent me in a tailspin. God told me that, hey, you're supposed to close this thing down. And I've spent the last 5 months kind of going back and forth with God, trying to figure out what that meant and what to do. And essentially I had to kill off what was in order for what needed to be born. And so I've seen clearly here in the last couple of weeks, where we're supposed to go and what the future looks like for our coaching group and for all of the things that we're doing, not only myself, but my wife and I together. And I couldn't be more excited, but it's a really, really powerful group for people who want more. A lot of people ask me, what does it do? Can it help me? It's like, look, if you want more, it's for you. And that's really what the premise of the Lion's Den is showing people what's possible. I didn't know what was possible. I don't have any rich family. I mean, I grew up in a single parent home. There's no millionaires in my family, none. As far back as we can trace our ancestors to Ireland, I'm the first millionaire in my family. So it's like, I want more, I want more out of life. And I've built a really incredible life. And so I look at kind of what we do with the coaching group. And I just tell people, look, man, it doesn't matter if you like the things that I like, or if I drive a Lamborghini every day. And if you don't like Lamborghinis, that's totally fine. But the reality is, if you want more out of life, this is what we do together. And so it's a really powerful group of people that are constantly pushing each other for more, to get in better shape, to make more money, to have more mental clarity, to have deeply rooted relationships. That's something that my wife and I are very, very, very passionate about right now. Is not saying, hey, our relationship is the best and this is our way and you should do it. But it's like, look, man, if you're a couple and you want a deeper relationship, whatever that means to you,
sure,
let's have a conversation. Let's see if we can open up your eyes or open up your heart a little bit more. And that's something that I think is really powerful nowadays is there's a lot of people that are just stuck. They're stuck in their income. They're stuck in their way of being. They're like frozen in fear. That's not how we're supposed to be living. And so I welcome those people. I invite those people in, like, join us, man. Like, look at different things differently, see a different perspective, open your eyes up to something that you might not see, and join us.
Sean, you go online. There's a bunch of blogs talk about you in a negative way. A lot of stuff. Social media, your posts, people put stupid comments on all over, right?
Oh yeah.
People think of me like, dude, like you selling out, like you going with Sean. Sean is a freaking racist. I know you. I've been following your band for 5 years now, my friend. You're far from being racist. The farthest thing south. How does that make you feel, man? Like, you're this awesome person, man. You have your family. You take care of your family, your wife, your kids. You're an entrepreneur. You're giving back to society. Yeah. And people talk so much shit. Like, how did that make you feel?
Yeah, I literally, the people that don't know me have the most to say. And that's really the beautiful thing about life is, you got two choices: get to know the man or just talk shit about the man. And it used to bother me a lot because I really wanted people to see me differently. And I realized, like, anybody who doesn't know another human being, who labels them something, it says a lot about them. It says a lot about their scarcity mentality and how afraid they are. At the end of the day, like, I tell people, like, I don't have haters. I don't have trolls. I just have fans. And these people are fans. Like, if you're going to take, I'll leave it at this. If you're going to take your time from your day to talk about me, whether it's to leave a nasty comment, whether it's to write a blog post, whether it's to fucking create, there's hundreds of fake profiles around me. If you take the time to set up a fake Instagram profile just to talk shit about me, like, you're a fan. Like, you're very, very, very much in love with me and what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Because the truth of the matter is, if I was irrelevant to you and I didn't mean anything to you, then you wouldn't be talking about me.
100%.
And so that's kind of something that I very much appreciate, is like, if, one of my favorite quotes is, the only thing worse than being talked about is not being talked about. And so it's like, if people are talking about me, doesn't really matter what they're fucking saying. Sure. I'm winning.
Last but not least question, politics. If you mind me, can we go there?
Sure.
You're a pro-Trump guy. Yeah, you even got me to become a Trump guy. What's the future looking like for us now, Sean?
Let me tell you why I like Trump. And it's not necessarily because of the morals of the man or this, that, or the other. The reason that I know Trump personally. I've known the family. I did a real estate deal years and years and years ago. And he's like your crazy uncle. He's fun to be around, he's fun to talk. You kind of can't stop watching the guy, who knows what he's going to say. I resonate with that. I'm very much like that. You never know what the fuck's going to come out of my mouth, kind of a deal. But the reason that I like Trump from a political standpoint is because he's radically different. And he's proven over the last couple of years that there's a lot of decisions that he made that I didn't agree with, during the whole scamdemic bullshit. But at the end of the day, I'm very much a proponent of change. I'm very much a proponent of revolution. I'm very much a proponent of people questioning why they are the way that they are, why they're doing what they're doing. And Trump really invoked that in our political system. He's the same, old white guy that we've had for years and years and years and years. We had Obama for a hot minute there, but like at the end of the day, like he's just, he's somebody that brought something different to the table. And that's what I really liked about him, is he just shook things up. And I truly believe that, our country needs that. We need to be woken up. We need to be shaken up a little bit. Like we need to have kind of the old crazy uncle that, you lip off to him and he ain't afraid to smack you in the mouth. Like that's how I was raised. I was raised that way. If I lipped off to somebody, we were fighting. That's just how it is. And nowadays kids are, thinking that they can identify as a fucking fire hydrant and an umbrella. And it's like, no, dude, you know what I'm saying? Little kids shouldn't be cutting their dicks off and having these conversations and stuff. So I definitely think that there's a really interesting aspect to him in the political game, and it's simply because he shakes things up. I definitely think that he truly does love the country. I think that he plays the game of politics much like all the other politicians. But if I'm going to go to put somebody in charge to take care of the country from a global stance, I want our country to be respected. Our country ain't respected right now. I want somebody who looks at securing our borders and taking care of our families from that security standpoint. That's it. I don't need you involved in my bank account and my businesses and shit like that. But, at the end of the day, I think, you can handle your family and I can handle my family, and a black guy, a white guy, a gay guy, a straight guy, leave us alone, man. Let us make our money. Let us do our deal. Let us freaking raise our families however the hell we want to raise them. And I think the government should just basically ensure that, our foreign interests are taken care of, and we don't have fucking people bombing us and trying to take over our country every single day. We're pretty smart people. You know what I'm saying? So I'm very much a proponent of anybody who wants to get the government out of my pockets and out of my life and out of my kids' lives and out of your life, And so I think that that shaking things up and questioning things, is a really, really powerful thing. In fact, I'll just share this with you. I saw this earlier today, and you'll appreciate this. I got to find it. But it's this, I don't like memes normally, but this was a really funny one that I saw. And I don't know if you can see it, but it's basically there's two dudes that look like George Washington, and it says the national debt in 1960 was 286 billion. The national debt in 2023 is 31.4 trillion, right? And it says, are our roads better? How about healthcare? Are our streets safer? Did we improve our schools? Is it easier to raise a family? And then it says at the bottom, what the hell did they do with that $31.1 trillion? If you really stop and think about it, that's very true. 1960 to 2023, we still have, we haven't really evolved that much other than having cell phones and fucking social media.
Sure.
Our roads are still shitty. Our healthcare is still shitty. Our schools are still shitty, yet $31 trillion. Where is it going? What's happening? So for me, that's where I'm at with politics. I think that I think we're in a really beautiful time. I think 2024 is going to be an amazing year, and it's going to be really fun to see what happens. But I tell people the same thing all the time. No politician is going to save you. It doesn't matter who the president is. It doesn't matter who the congressmen and the senators are. Like, get your damn house in order. You as a man, you as a woman listening to this, get your damn house in order, emotionally, psychologically, physically, and financially. So long as you have that, doesn't fucking matter who's sitting at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Yeah. Sean, one last one. People, one of my friends asked me to ask you a question. Are you really for violence?
Am I what?
Are you for violence, to have violent times? A lot of you.
Am I for violence?
Yes.
I love violence. I think violence is great. I think violence is the great equalizer. We did a shirt a long time ago that said "Give violence a chance." Like, yes. I believe that we are the way that we are today because we started eliminating the physicality of human beings. Because at the end of the day, how I was raised is if you talk back to me, if we had words, we smacked each other. That's what it was. We threw our backpacks down and we threw down. And at the end of the day, that's how we handled our problems. And nowadays you call Congress and Senate and the police and your mommy and your daddy, and kids don't know how to solve shit. I think violence is without question a deeply rooted thing inside of every man's DNA. And if you don't believe me, just ask yourself, if someone broke in your house tonight to rape your family, what would you do? And if you don't think that you would stab them, cut them, throw a light at them, if you wouldn't try everything, including becoming radically violent to stop them, you're a fucking liar. And so inside of us is that. So I choose to do what Jordan Peterson talks about. I choose to become a violent man. I choose to learn how to defend myself. I learn how to fight. I train and spar fighting and MMA and boxing every single week. And it's something that I'm very much an advocate of, but I choose to harness it. I choose to be a man of peace. And the reason that I'm a man of peace is because I know that 9 out of 10 times, if you fuck with me, I'm gonna handle my shit. And that's something that I believe in. My home is heavily armed, and I'm very public about that. So it's like, if you choose to break into my home, don't be surprised that you're met with violence. So I think the more that we talk about that, and the more that we actually talk about what's real, instead of this airy fairy fluffy land of we should just all love each other and sing kumbaya. Evil has always been on this earth, and it will always be on this earth. As long as there is mankind on this earth, evil will exist. And if evil exists, then there must be a counterbalance for that. And it will take violent men to beat that evil. And, you know, at the end of the day, if you don't like that, then the next time somebody tries to rob you, steal you, rape you, break into your home, don't call 911 then. Because what you're doing is you're asking men to come to your rescue and do violent things to protect you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I believe in violence, and I think it's very much a needed aspect of our life and of our culture.
Sean, you never talk about Andrew Tate on your social media. I never heard you talk about him. Any thoughts about him?
I don't agree with everything that he says, but I think that a majority of what he says is dead on accurate. He very much is a proponent of men becoming men, handling your shit, becoming very wealthy. A lot of people complain about wealth. They complain about the wealthy. Why? At the end of the day, you got two choices: bitch and moan about the wealthy, or become wealthy. I can tell you single-handedly, I've been broke, and I've had a lot of money, and I very much like having money more than I do being broke. I have a lot more freedoms. I have a lot more possibilities when I have money. And so, you know, I like a lot of the things Andrew Tate says. I think that Andrew Tate is also a brilliant marketer. I mean, you know, from my understanding, he's got kids, and I don't know how his whole personal shit works because I don't know the man. But I would say that 95% of the stuff that he says, I agree with.
That's awesome, Sean. I would love to keep going and doing this, but I know you have a multi.
Yeah, we'll do another episode here down the road at some point in time, my friend.
Sean, face to face, and please, I want to talk to you. I want to get the energy. Sean, you speaking anywhere live anytime soon?
Not really. No, I have I'm going to be speaking at my friend Mark Evans' birthday party in Ohio later in the summer, and then I've got my event coming up in September. And
Lions Den.
Other than that, yeah. So
can I come to? You have to be a member to come to that, right? In September.
Got to be a member. We're going to be opening it up next week. It's going to be available again. I'm going to be pushing it out there to the marketplace, and every single person listening to this, you should be a member of the Lions Den.
Absolutely, Sean. Love you. You're amazing. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you,
man. We'll be in touch, man.
God bless.
Bye, man.
Thanks.